Welcome to another DIY Why Don't You, presented by the St. Joseph Public Library and me, Jen Wildhagen. I'm the manager of the downtown branch of the St. Joseph Public Library. This month I'm really pleased to be bringing to you a family recipe. This is our star cookies, cinnamon star cookies, and they come all the way from Germany several generations back. My grandma actually gave me permission to share these with you, so I feel really honored, and I hope that you all really enjoy making these for yourself and your families. They are by far the favorite in my family. They actually have no flour. It's all just sugar and almonds and eggs and cinnamon and lemon. They are fantastic. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. A couple tips that I have for you is Grandma would always leave her eggs out for a little bit to let them get to about room temperature. So when we're going to be making a meringue, basically, and we want the eggs to be about room temperature so that they just fluff up more easily. And then we'll be adding things slowly as we get to that. So I'm going to go ahead and start separating the eggs, and then I'll be grating the lemon peel for that part. All right, the easiest way, unless you have one of those fancy gadgets to actually separate an egg, is to break it in half and then just move it back and forth, the yolk, until you have the white completely separated. And let's face it, that wasn't beautiful, but it gets the job done. Because the more white you get, the more meringue you get, and the meringue is the most delicious part. Close enough. All right. So you're going to separate 6 eggs and individually put the whites into the mixer. I have my handy dandy whisk attachment on the mixer right now. So I'm just going to put that white in. All right. So another advantage to doing one egg at a time is that if you do accidentally get a little bit of yolk in with a white, you can just set that one aside, use it for something else, grab another egg, and get a better clean white. You don't want any yolk in your whites at all. I just want to show you that I have this really nice rasp that I'm going to get my lemon peel scraped on. And you do the entire lemon. You wash it before you start this process, but you just rasp it until you get a nice grated lemon peel, and then that will be added later. So I have everything ready basically except the lemon. I have my 6 egg whites, 4 cups of grated almonds. They are grated super fine. I actually put them in a food processor. So I took unsalted roasted almonds. Actually mine were raw almonds, and I just roasted them myself at 350 for about 10 minutes. I've got 2.5 cups of sugar here, and I'll be getting 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon in a bit. So I'm gonna start the mixer. You guys don't have to listen to that, but I'm just gonna run it on high until I start getting some nice stiff peaks from my egg whites. So my mixer keeps flipping the breaker, and I may have to find a different outlet for it, but it's a good place to stop anyway, because I wanted you to see that this is the entire rind of the lemon that I have now rasped off, except for that bad spot. I avoided that because I didn't want it in there. It's just not very pretty. And then we'll have to find something to do with that lemon and something else, maybe fajitas or something. Well, lemon juice on top. But I did want to go ahead and show you how the egg whites are doing, because it's actually doing pretty well. You see that I'm already getting some nice stiff peaks here, and I could probably start adding the sugar. So I just added half a cup. I'm going to let it get incorporated. You see, I'm adding just a little bit at a time. So after all the sugar is in, you're going to let it beat for several minutes just to really get all that sugar incorporated. So I'm just going to let this go for a bit. Okay. So this has been going for several minutes now, and I just had to show you how pretty and glossy this is so far. And look at that nice, see how that stays there, nice and stiff there. That's beautiful. But look at how shiny and pretty that is. That is perfect, if I do say so myself, and I just did. So now we're gonna need to swap out the attachments, because when we add the cinnamon and the lemon peel, it's more of a folding in method rather than a beating it to death method like we've been using. I'm gonna change my weapon of choice, and we'll lock in position again. I'm just gonna have it on low as I'm adding. Oh gosh, I wish you could smell this. This fresh lemon is so amazing. Now I'm going to go ahead and beat this on medium to medium high for several minutes. Each part takes several minutes. You just really want to let the flavors come together, and they do that individually. Again, I don't question what my grandma told me. I just do what she told me. I wonder, all that she could taste, if I did one thing wrong, I will bet that my grandma could taste and tell you exactly where I stepped out wrong. Okay, that's probably good for the lemon peel, so I'm going to slow it back down so that I can add my cinnamon without it flying everywhere, I hope. And it's just 1.5 teaspoons. So there's 1, and there's a half. I'm going to stop it so I can scrape down the sides real quickly. I want that to all get down in there. And some of the cinnamon actually got shoved to the side. Alright, back on medium to go for a few minutes to really let the cinnamon come to life in there. And then we'll come back and do the next step. So the cinnamon has been completely incorporated into the mix. And we are going to do something very important now. We're going to separate out half a cup of this mixture so that it can be the frosting for the cookies later. Now remember how I said that this has no flour in it? When we roll it out, it's such a sticky dough that we do use flour on the surface, but I got express permission from my grandma to try something new, and that's going to be to use almond flour instead of wheat flour for the rolling out, so that it doesn't change the flavor at all. It doesn't change the texture or consistency at all, I hope. And we'll see how that plays out. So everything about this step is slow. We add the almonds slowly, we keep the mixer on slow. And it really, it's a very sticky dough by the time you're done. It's not like any other cookie dough that I work with ever. I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on to 350 so that it's ready to go when I'm ready to go. And we'll be lining some cookie sheets with aluminum foil, but we don't spray them down at all. I get so impatient. By the time I'm almost done adding stuff, I have a tendency to just want to dump it in I'm gonna try to control myself and not do that right now. Okay, so that is all of the nuts added in. I'm gonna scrape down the sides real fast. It's honestly just a little too sloppy. It shouldn't be something where it's gonna spread after you cut it. This is starting to look better. As it mixes here, it's actually starting to form a ball around the paddle, and that's more like what it's supposed to do. Still gooey, don't get me wrong, it's still gooey, but it's going to hold together better now. So depending on the size egg you use, just bank on maybe having to use some more almond. If you use medium or large eggs, then it would be the 4 cups of almond. But because I use jumbo eggs, I ended up probably using about 5 cups of almonds, which, I mean, that's okay. Just means more cookies. All right. Do you see the different consistency now? It's still dropping off, but it's not oozing off so much. Get this out of the way. Yeah. So you see it's sticky, but it's not just drooping off of my finger now. It actually takes some effort to get it off my finger. Which, by the way, really fun to work with. Okay, we're done with the mixer. I'm going to go ahead and get it out of our way. And give the bowl a good scrape down here. Make sure your work surface is nice and clean before you start the next step. Since Grandma said I could try using almond flour instead of wheat flour, I'm really hoping that this works the way it's supposed to. So I'm going to dust my surface with almond flour. I'm just going to put a little bit of dough down at first. I have a lot of memories wrapped up in these Christmas cookies. A lot of good memories. Okay. So I'm going to sprinkle the top, some more almond flour, and you see this would all be wheat flour otherwise. So you have to be really sparing with the wheat flour because it'll change the entire nature of the dough if you get too much. Okay, right now I'm going to prep my cookie trays so that they're ready to go. Okay, just lining the cookie tray with aluminum foil. And like I say, we're not going to put anything down, no oil or anything. Roll this out. Oh, you see how gooey that is? Get some more flour on top here. Okay, and it needs to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. The marble roller is actually not my friend with this particular project, and I'll tell you why. It's so heavy that with a dough this soft, it just goes right down. I may have to swap out for one of my wooden rollers if I can find one. Okay. I'm going to try to get as many cookies out of this dough as I can, because we try not to work it too much, even with almond flour instead of wheat. I'm going to just try to be really careful. Okay, I need to get my pastry cutter. If you guys have watched any of my other cooking programs, you know that this is possibly the hardest working tool in my kitchen. Okay, I'm just going to set that up there. And I'm going to very carefully try to get one of these cookies up off of the counter. Well, it doesn't really look like a star anymore. That's all right. You know what? It'll still be edible. It's all good. We're not going to stress over it. You have enough things to stress about. We're not going to stress about a weird sea creature star cookie. Okay, got my wooden roller. Yeah, I have much better control over this guy. At least where this dough is concerned. Twofer on that one. That's better. Okay, accounting for a little bit of spread on the tray. I'm not going to get them too close together. All right, I'm just going to repeat this process. I'm going to keep working this dough into new batches of dough. So this time, instead of just rolling this out again, I'm going to bring in some new gooey stuff. And I'm going to repeat this whole process until I have my tray full, and then I'll show you the next step. Remember that we had half a cup of meringue set aside from earlier. This is where we'll use it. We're going to use the back of a spoon to just get a little bit and spread it on each cookie. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be that pretty. And you'll see that it's a light frosting basically on the top. You don't want to get it too thick. All right, guys, I'm putting these in. They're going to bake at 350 for about 20 minutes, but I'm going to check them really frequently after 15 minutes to make sure that they're not burning. And now we wait. I need to check these guys. Oh, yeah. You know what? I think these might be ready to come out. Okay, so I think these are actually ready to come out. It's only been 15 minutes, but you can see how they're browning on the edges and the meringue is starting to crack in places. These actually look done to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out. Yay! I have my second batch in the oven now for 15 minutes, and I have my first batch back here cooling. So I'm just going to keep repeating the process of rolling out, cutting, putting the meringue on the top until I run out of dough. And then I'm going to have at least one before I share with family members. I have to make sure that they're worth eating. All right. Now to give it a try. Yep. That's my childhood right there in one bite. It was a good one too. Thank you so much, Grandma, for letting me share this recipe with everyone. And I'll see you all again soon. Be sure to check out the webpage. I'm going to have recipes for other cookies on there, and other staff are going to share some of their family favorite recipes too. So happy holidays, everyone. I hope you stay safe, and we'll see you soon.